Question 10. Solve t plus t plus t equals to 12. Well, solve means to work out the numerical value for the letter. In this case, I'm working out the value of t. My first step on the left-hand side is to collect like terms. As they all end in t, therefore they're like terms. So 1t plus 1t plus 1t will simplify to give us 3 lots of t. So 3t is equal to 12. We know 3t in algebra means 3 multiplied by the letter t. The opposite of multiply by 3, therefore is divide both sides of my equation by 3. On the left-hand side, 3 over 3 will cancel to leave us with t. And 12 divided by 3 gives us 4. Part B, solve x minus 2 is equal to 6. As I want to get x by itself, my first step is to eliminate any of the term on the same size letter by doing the opposite. In this case, the opposite of minus 2, therefore is to add 2 to both sides of my equation. On the left-hand side, negative 2 add 2 will cancel to leave us with x, which is what I want. And on the right-hand side, 6 add 2 gives us 8. Part C, solve 6w plus 2 is equal to 20. In this case, I'm working out the value of w. My first step is to always eliminate any of the term on the same size letter I want by doing the opposite. The opposite of add 2, therefore is subtract 2 from both sides of my equation. On the left-hand side, I know that 2 subtract 2 will cancel, and that'll leave us with 6w. And on the right-hand side, I know 20 take away 2 gives us 18. I know 6w in algebra. If there's a number in front of a letter, that means to multiply. So the opposite of times by 6 is to divide both sides of my equation by 6. On the left-hand side, 6 over 6 will cancel to leave us with w. And on the right-hand side, 18 divided by 6 gives us 3. Question 11. Work out 74 multiplied by 58. One way to multiply is to use traditional column method. Starting with our units, I know that 8 multiplied by 4 gives us 32. So 2 down, carry the 3. I know that 8 multiplied by 7 gives us 56. Add the 3 I carried, gives us 59. Now multiplying by my tens column. As I'm multiplying by the tens column, I must place a 0, a placeholder, in my units. Now I do 5 times 4. Well, 5 times 4 gives us 20. So 0 down, carry the 2. I know that 5 multiplied by 7 gives us 35. Add the 2 I carried, gives us 37. Adding up my 2 rows. Starting on the right, I know 2 add 0 gives us 2. 9 add 0 gives us 9. 5 add 7 gives us 12. So 2 down, carry the 1. And 3 add 1 gives us 4. Question 12. As we're told AB and BC are perpendicular lines, we know perpendicular lines make a right angle. And a right angle equals 90 degrees. As I'm asked to find the value of x, well, here I can see these 3 angles add up to give us 90 degrees. So adding up the 2 angles I know, I've got 25 plus 25. That will give us 50. I know in total it add up to 90. So 90 subtract 50 gives us 40. Therefore, angle x is 40 degrees. Part B. RS and TU are parallel lines. PQ is a straight line. An angle of 125 degrees is shown on the diagram. Write down the letter of one other angle of size 125 degrees. Give a reason for your answer. Looking at my diagram where I have my 125 degree angle, I can see where I have 2 lines that cross. I know that vertically opposite angles are equal. So if this is 125 degrees, then so is angle B, as they're vertically opposite each other. Alternatively, whenever you see parallel lines, you're looking for a Z, F, or C shape. Here, using the angle 125 degrees, I can see the angle D is also going to be 125 degrees because I have an F shape. And an F shape is called corresponding, and corresponding angles are also equal. Part 2. Explain why A plus B plus C is equal to 235 degrees. We're locating the letters A, B, and C. Here I can see that A, B, and C represent the angles here. And I can see in total that in the middle, I have a point. I know the angles around a point always add up to 360 degrees. As I have one angle, in this case 125, therefore to work out a total of A, B, and C, therefore I'm going to do 360 degrees, subtract 125 degrees, which will give us 235 degrees. And that will be the sum of angles A, B, and C. Question 13. The length of a line is x centimetres. Write down an expression in terms of x for the length of the line in millimetres. Our first step is we should know our conversion between centimetres and millimetres. We know 1 centimetre equals 10 millimetres. Hence, when going from centimetres to millimetres, we simply multiply by 10. And if we're going from millimetres into centimetres, we do the opposite. As here, we're going from x centimetres into millimetres. Therefore, I'm going to be multiplying by 10. And 10 multiplied by x in algebra, we just simply write as 10x. Question 14. Work out 1/5 of 70. Well, off in mathematics means to multiply. When calculating a fractional amount, we always divide by the bottom and multiply by the number on the top. When dividing by a number, we can apply the bus stop method. The number we're dividing by always goes outside the bus stop. And inside, in this case, we're going to have number 70. Well, how many times does 5 divide into 7? Well, it goes in one whole time, as 5 times 1 is 5. As I had 7, the remainder is 2, so carry the 2. And how many times does 5 divide into 20? In this case, 4, as 4 times 5 is 20. So therefore, I know that 70 divided by 5 is 14. And I times by the number on top. As the number on top is just 1, but we know 14 times 1 is simply going to be 14. Part B. Fiona has to work out the exact value of 48 divided by half. She writes that 48 divided by half equals 24. Fiona's reason is there's 2 halves in 1, so there'll be 24 halves in 48. Explain what is wrong with Fiona's reason. Well, the first part of Fiona's reason is correct, because there is 2 halves in 1. Because we think of 1 as being a circle, we know a half plus a half makes 1. Therefore, in 48, there would be 96 halves. Or we could say that Fiona divided by 2, but she should have multiplied by 2. Question 15. Write down the value of the square root of 64. That symbol that looks like a tick means square root. And square root means what number multiplied by itself gives you a number inside the root. In this case, our answer is 8, as 8 times 8 gives you 64. Part B. Work out the value of 5 cubed. Well, 5 cubed means 5 multiplied by itself twice. 5 times 5 is 25, and 25 times 5 gives us 125. Question 16. Expand 5, and in single brackets, 2m minus 3. Well, the word expand has an x in it, and then the x looks a bit like a multiplication sign. When expanding a single bracket, we multiply the term directly outside a single bracket by each term directly inside. Here, 5 times 2m will give us 10m, and 5 times negative 3 gives us negative 15. Part B. Factorise 3m plus 12. Well, factorise is the opposite to expand. If expand means to multiply out, i.e. to remove the brackets, well, therefore factorise means to put back into brackets. A way of remembering is factorise has letter C in it, which looks a bit like a bracket. If we have 2 terms, we always try factorising into single brackets. We always want to take out the highest common factor for both numbers and letters. Looking at our numbers, here I've got 3 and 12. Well, the factors of 3 are simply 1 and 3, because 3 is a prime number. The factors of 12 are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. The highest common factor from both lists, in this case, is the number 3. So 3 is the highest common factor in both 3 and 12, so take 3 out. Looking at our letters, well, here I've got n, and here I do not have n. It needs to be common in order for it to come out. So n is not common. So now open my single bracket. What do I times 3 to get back to 3n? Well, I'm missing n. What do I times 3 to get back to positive 12? In this case, I'm missing positive 4. Question 17. Stuart throws a biased coin 10 times. He gets 7 tails. Maxine throws the same coin 50 times. She gets 30 tails. Prasha's going to throw the coin once. Whose result will give the better estimate for the probability that she will get tails, Stuart's or Maxine's? You must give a reason for your answer. Here, the better estimate will be Maxine, as she throws the coin more times than Stuart. Part 2. As we're asked to work out an estimate for the probability that Prasha will get tails using Stuart and Maxine's results, therefore on the top will be the number of times that Stuart and Maxine got tails. We're looking at Stuart's results. He got tails 7 times, so 7 successes, plus the number of successes for Maxine. So Maxine got tails 30 times. So on the top, it's going to be my 7 plus 30. That's the number of times they got tails. Out of, it's always at the top number of times they threw the coin. Well, look at the top one. Stuart threw the coin 10 times, so 10, plus Maxine threw the coin 50 times. So on the bottom, 10 plus 50. Simplifying our fraction on top, we had 7 plus 30. The number of successful times they got tails was 37. Out of, divided by the number of times they threw the coin in total. Well, 10 add 50 gives us 60.